get the second half underway here of the first match of day 2, and the Castleford Tigers ahead by 16 points to 10. Let's return to the commentary box. Steve-O, Paul, Terry and Rod Stott.
Well, thanks, Eddie. Are Castleford going to win their first ever game at the Magic Weekend? Here we go then with the second half. Are they going to hold on, or are the Dragons, bottom of the pile, going to battle back and upset the Tigers in this second half? Castleford's away record is one of the better away records in the competition at home since they returned to Super League in 2008. They've only won 10 times, but they've won 15 on the road. Bizarre statistics. Are they going to do it again today?
Well, do you see that pass then from dummy half from Kane Bentley? Obviously got a little bit more skills in that department, not to distract from Jean-Philippe Bale. Lovely ball, about 30 metres right across the field, just allowed the Catalans to have a little bit more width on their exit sets.
Won only twice all season in the Super League. Catalan Dragons, they go to the Crusaders in the Cup. Realistically, their playoff chances have gone. They've no hope of making the top 8 from where they are now. In realistic terms, I wonder if they might start sticking all their eggs in the Challenge Cup basket. A return to Wembley that they graced in 2007 when they lost to St Helens. Here's a penalty.
After that first set, could do with finding the ground, but they give the penalty away. Dane Carlisle going high on Wainwright. So they've got to the kick, they've done everything right. Kevin Walters will be happy with them getting that, but he will not be happy with that swinging arm from Dane Carlisle.
I don't usually go into changing rooms at half-time to hear what the coaches say, Paul, but I'm pretty sure they would have been preaching the merits of discipline and keeping control and keeping the ball and not missing shots from penalties, perhaps, as well.
Absolutely. Coach killers. I'm sure both have gone on about completion, kick, field position. It's the basic fundamentals from which we can build a game and then execute your game plan. And you've just seen then a classic example of two sets of players completely ignoring both.
We saw Bradford miss touch from a penalty yesterday afternoon in their defeat with the Crusaders. I wonder if this could be similarly costly for Castleford. Biting off more than they needed to chew from the penalty, just getting into touch and start a new set of 6, but they didn't do so, and the Catalan Dragons, despite conceding the penalty, are on the attack from it. Here's Bosk going into dummy half this time. Maguire, Casey Maguire, a loose pass, we've seen a lot of those today, goes to ground, they managed to pick up the football, but they're going backwards here, they're in retreat despite being in possession. It's Setia Martassar who's wrapped up by 3 Castleford Tigers. And the tackle count reaches 5. They're 30 metres out. They haven't really taken full advantage of this unexpected field position. Boss kicks, oh dear, straight down the throat of Ryan McGoldrick. It was an awful set, really.
Good pressure by Stuart Jones. Well, good hit by Kane Bentley there on Ryan McGoldrick. His head rocked straight back.
Dixon stepping away and stepping into 2 tacklers. Let's take a journey down to the sideline and get the latest news from Brian Carney. Brian.
Right, the word from Terry Madison to his players. He's very happy, obviously, with the first 20 minutes, but inexplicably they fell off for the second 20. He wants them to go back to doing what they did in the first quarter of this game. Kevin Walters, I don't think he'll have Sebastian Martins for this second half. He's got about 15 medics on him. We're told it's a shoulder problem. He's pretty happy with how they're going. He's very confident his side can get a result in this game. Just do what they did towards the latter part of that first half.
Thanks, Brian.
And that's exactly the question that the coaches will be saying to the players as we see this kick from Castleford just goes into touch. But he'll be saying, what got you into the game? What gave you that lead early on, Castleford? Frankie Chase playing on the front foot. And then when Catalan got back into the game, it was much of the muchness, should I say.
Yeah, Terry Madison and Kevin Walters, old teammates at Brisbane, yes, sharing the teeth along here, and the 2 coaches were teammates, but on opposite sides and enemies for these 80 minutes.
Well, the problem that they have with the Catalans is the fact that Terry Madison knows that kick and chase was very good indeed, and field position, something that they held in that first quarter. So they'll be pretty happy with the way things are going now, because they've upped the tempo in that defensive line. The French outfit finding it very difficult to get over the advantage line. This is very good defence.
We've mentioned Castleford's record in the Magic Weekend, not won a game. The Dragons have won 1 from 3. Lost to Leeds last year and Quins in the opening renewal of the event, but did produce a magnificent fight back in 2008 at the Millennium Stadium to beat Harlequins. I wonder if they have a similar magic trick up their sleeve this afternoon. This is Casey Maguire, one of their key playmakers. Final tackle just about on the halfway line. Bentley's in at dummy half. Little chip from Thomas Bosk. We all remember that try scored against Harlequins, that wonderful chip, regather, chip again and score. He hasn't scored a try since, though, Steve-o.
It's amazing you can't live on that glory forevermore.
Well, you keep going on about the World Cup in the 70s.
You never hear me say that, you know that. But it's something that they've got to do. At least he was trying it. He was very well read, though, wasn't he, by Rangi Chase? I mean, he really has stood out as the #1 player in this game. It's been scrappy at times.
And scrappy then, wasn't it? It was a loose pass that the Dragons almost pounced upon, but the Tigers have got it back and they've got a fresh set. See it again. It's a chance for Elmer to burgle possession, but he didn't take it.
Move!
Higgins, Liam Higgins. Rangi Chase is in at dummy half. Hudson still taking a breather on the sidelines. No doubt we'll see him again for the Tigers captain. But Chase doing the job very effectively. Ra McGoldrick, the hot stepper, goes through a couple of challenges. He's knocked down eventually, but McGoldrick, one of the best side steppers in the Super League, almost squirmed out of a couple of challenges. It's got Castleford on the front foot, and that's for sure. Joe Westerman, out of a couple of challenges, looking for an ambitious offload, but thought better of it in the end. Last tackle for the Tigers. It's picked up by Brent Sherwin. A little kick through, a little grubber. James Evans is chasing. It's loose. Evans is going to score here. James Evans has scored for Castleford. What an awful try to concede for the Catalan Dragons. James Evans has put Castleford 10 points clear.
Well, a scratch of the head for coach Terry Matheson. James Evans has showed up really well in this game. One defensive error in the first half that led to Living Elmer's try. But this is all the halfbacks need from both sides. You want your players flooding up. You want options. Is it going to be a pass? Is it going to be a kick? On this occasion, it was a kick that led to the try from James Evans.
It's the third try that's come from a kick, Terry, for the Tigers, isn't it?
But you can see Sherwin, he's got players hanging back, waiting for that pass. Evans hits the ball. He goes straight through. He's got options. Just look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the frame. It's a nasty ricochet, but Evans scores the try.
And of the 4 players in the frame, 3 of them were from Catalan Dragons, and 1 of them was from the Castleford Tigers. That urgency that saw Catalans concede in the first play of the game, almost, has just happened again.
I just got the impression that there was no call, no shout from the fullback Dimitri Pello, and it was a real mix-up. Bakari, the winger, take nothing away from the kick. You test your arm, Sherwin, it's well weighted. He went for it, there's no real call between the two of them. It's always easier for someone to run towards the ball and pick it up, rather than come from the angle, and that's what you saw from Dimitri Pello.
But you could see Bakken didn't even look confident when he was bending down to get that ball. He didn't command it, and they made the mistake.
Well, Westerman kicked the conversion as well, his third of the game. His second took him to 400 points for the Castleford Tigers, 400 career points in tries and goals. It was a good kick by Sherwin, wasn't it? But it shouldn't have been a try-scoring kick, that's for sure.
There was enough defenders there to solve that problem. Beautiful movement. He actually squared himself up so he could get good contact on the ball and put the ball a little bit straighter. Right in the correct position, but that has to be dealt with.
Mistake by the magician Chase, a forward pass. I don't know what the stats are because you only notice when it happens, but how many mistakes are made by the team that's just scored from the next set of 6? Probably not as often as we think, but it does happen.
It will happen a couple of times in every game. It's just a concentration of going back, and you've got to make sure that you just stay focused. All that Rangi Chase was trying to do to them was get out, engage the markers, but Craig Hoovey just overrun that pass.
You find when you speak to players in those situations to try and work out why it's gone wrong, it's difference in dynamics. Some players are really up and buoyant because you've just scored, and some players are trying to calm it down and be steady. And that gap in between sometimes causes problems.
Yeah, it's a very difficult problem to solve, I think, Paul, isn't it? I think all coaches must wonder how they can solve it. It does happen, and let's see if Castleford concede from it. Now they try to muscle up. They've gone in front by 12 clear points, 2 clear scores. Are they going to see the deficit halved as far as the Dragons are concerned? Well, that's a very important tackle. It's a very important tackle from Joe Westerman, but they're knocking right on the try line here. The Dragons, it's Maguire. And now it's inside to Sebastian Raguin, the man who can play in the centre or in the pack. Good offload by Raguin, picked up by Dallas Johnson. Well, and conjuring act out of the back door. They're going to get a chance here. Another set, I should think. Dimitri Pello, yes, another set for the Catalan Dragons. Some tremendous offloading going on close to the line. Could be a try for Maguire. Has he got that ball down? No, says Ian Smith. Held up. They'll go back 10 metres.
Good play by Wainwright. Casey Maguire getting out from dummy half, but Wainwright clamped that ball. There was no way Maguire was going to get it down.
Super defence, but it was well worth the plunge, though, from Catalans, just to try and keep them now tight defending at the play of the ball.
Jerome Guisset, the former French international. Bentley's at dummy half here for the Dragons. Now Muniz. Well, wanted to offload, didn't need to offload. Well, he scored, unless there's an obstruction. Ian Smith wants to have another look at it. At first viewing, I didn't think there would be a problem. What do you think, gentlemen?
Chris Tewson, who's going back, he's saying which side do we go? You can see that Dallas Johnson, he gets it, he goes through the dummy runner. No, there's nothing wrong with that. They practice that in training. That's what the dummy runners are there for, to engage with the defenders. And that's a simple try and good play by Gregory Muniz.
I think he's gone clean through. He does go around the back, but there was no interference. None of the defenders were affected by that movement.
No, he just puts Frankie Chase's mind in. What does he do? Does he go for the dummy runner? Does he take the ball carrier? He was hesitant. He made the wrong decision, and then he tried to correct that by trying to take on Gregory Muniz, but that's a try.
Well, it's a quick decision from Stuart Cummings, which leads me to believe he's probably going to give a try. He has given a try, and they're back in business.
They are. I'm just glad I agreed with Terry.
And you were both right as well.
I'm just watching Castleford when they're defending, and there's players going in. When they've got 3 and 4 in the tackle, they're going back, and they're saying to McGoldrick at the back, which side do we go? They're very hesitant. They don't have no idea which side to go, and they're short of numbers on a number of occasions.
Well, it showed quite clearly as far as the Catalans are concerned. It was getting to a point where they had to start risking, and the way they were throwing the ball about with gay abandon certainly worked out well. I think the officials have got it right. They're back in this game, but the build-up to this really has lifted their spirits. There were balls being flicked underneath their feet, backwards, with players with the backs of the opposition, but you've got to test your arms sometimes.
Muniz is going to have a go. As you see, 120 appearances for the Dragons, only the second man to reach the ton for the Catalans. He hasn't hit the target with the kick, though. Only Jerome Guisset has played more. One of the survivors from that very first game. Do you remember against Wigan, Steve-O, way back in 2006, that memorable night?
Yeah, they're turning it all around, aren't they? But they certainly need some magic today now. And it could come and bite them, couldn't it? The inability, should I say, of those conversions.
You've got to make sure you're better in contact when you're defending your own line like that. John Thompson went low, Rangi Chase went high.
I'll just give Rangi Chase a little bit of a rap, though, for his decision-making in there. Guys, he got it wrong, but I didn't mean on that kind of angle. He could have took a dive then, to use the footballing parlance. He could have come in on the lead runner, took some contact and hit the floor, and the referee and the video referee might have taken that from a different angle. He actually tried to get it right.
Here's a penalty to the Dragons, and while they're taking that, let's get down to this sideline and get some injury news on Sebastian Martin, I think, Brian Carney.
Yes, bad news for the Catalan Dragons. Sebastian Martin, one of their big forwards, has been taken to hospital. They don't know if it's a dislocated shoulder or a trapped nerve, but he's in a lot of discomfort, so rush to the hospital as soon as possible.
Well, the injury toll in Super League 15 mounting over 100 players have now missed games through injuries, which is a staggering statistic. I know it's similar figures in the NRL as well. Who'd be a player, Terry O'Connor?
Well, not me anymore. It just looks too physical, it's fast. The collisions are harder. Kevin Walton will be very upset losing one of his key players.
Yeah, you can't underestimate what a difference that makes to the rotation, can you? But here's half a break it was from Olivier Ellimer, but he was knocked down. Bentley picks it up and gets the Dragons moving forward with Bosk. Thomas Bosk, can he conjure a pass away? He can't, but suddenly the tide has turned.
And that is exactly how you lead into a next hole, what Olivier Ellimer did then.
Yeah, Bosk has gone down, maybe have pulled something in that drive. This could be a huge blow to the Catalan Dragons. Brian Carney will be on the case immediately. A little kick ahead, diffused, and play on is the call. He was in the field of play when he leapt in the air. And Bosk has got a major problem here, and this could be potentially a game wrecker for the Dragons.
This doesn't look good whatsoever.
Jean-Philippe Bell is the man looking likely to come onto the field now and replace Thomas Bosk. He's trying his hardest to shake off what looks like an ankle injury, trying to get himself back in the frame. And if not, then Jean-Philippe Bell is ready to come on.
Shades of yesterday when Matt Orford left the fray for the Bradford Bulls with that shoulder injury. Cannot afford to lose half-backs during a match. It's almost an insurmountable problem to deal with for most clubs.
They're already rotating off only 16 players. They're at a disadvantage already. If you go down to 15, you are in deep water.
Now, oh, chase that's forward, surely Ian Smith, waves play on, Wainwright gets it inside to Jordan Thompson, who's knocked down. It's the last tackle. Well, that pass seemed to be a long way forward, and maybe it could turn out to be a relief for the referee that they didn't score from it, because it did look suspicious.
But exciting play again from Castleford. But now things have gone against them. They give the penalty away. All that hard work that they've done.
Ryan Hudson back on the pitch, the captain of the Tigers, getting a word from the referee Ian Smith, an explanation of that penalty.
And he's absolutely right. The ball carrying arm hit the floor, and I think it was Mitchell Sargent just landed on. Wasn't the second effort, but then he turned him over, used the ball carrying arm as a lever, and put the player on his back. Ian Smith, absolutely no option.
Just looking at Thomas Boss, Paul, he's not moving freely, but he is at least moving, which is something. He's in at dummy half here, so maybe it's one of those that he can run off.
Well done.
But he's just dropped into that dummy half position, just simply a catch and a pass and a pick-up. You can keep him there if he's not 100%, just to organise some shape.
Well, this is a crucial period of play. Time ticking away, 25 minutes to go. They're 8 points in front, Castleford, but the Dragons have a little bit of momentum behind them. They scored the last try through Gregory Muniz to haul themselves back from a dozen points down to just 8. Here is Jerome Guisset.
And again, good play by Kane Bentley, getting out, dragging the defenders away from the behind the ruck.
Bentley has found Boss, nothing wrong with his right foot as he prods it forward, collected on his own try line by Kirk Dixon, who dances away. Oh, it's gone loose. Who ripped that out? Ian Smith says play on. I think it came off a Catalan's hand, and Ian Smith happy to let play continue.
It's the correct decision. Good positional play by Kirk Dixon.
It's opening up out there, isn't it? There's a few tired bodies about. There's a broken feel to the play now. There could be tries aplenty in this final quarter of the game. You can see it just opening up here on both sides of the field, which may suit the Dragons more than Castleford. Castleford, you feel, may want to shut it down a little bit more, but here is Ryan Hudson up to the halfway line. Couple of tackles left.
It's a big question and a big gamble, isn't it, Rod, for the Castleford Tigers? The likes of Joe Westerman and Rangi Chase and Sherwin, quality, top-class footballers. Have they got enough discipline just to rein that in a fraction and keep the pressure on?
Oliver Holmes coming on for the Tigers, just 17 years of age. Just his third appearance, made his debut in that game at Huddersfield, where they were missing Chase and Westerman. A number of youngsters out there who will have gained massively from the experience despite the defeat at Huddersfield. And mentioning Huddersfield, they're next up against the Wigan Warriors in what's arguably the pick of the weekend's fixtures. Should be an absolute belter between the Giants and the Warriors next up here at the Magic Weekend. This isn't so bad though, this one between the Tigers and the Dragons, still very much in the melting pot. The ball in the hands of Maguire. Now Muniz, the last man on the try-scoring sheet. Sarr has got Stephen Bell away. That's come loose. It'll be a forward pass. It'll be a forward pass.
That just goes to show what Catalan are like when they get any chance of a quick play of the ball. Good play by Sarr, but Stephen Bell just passes that ball forward. Was he going into touch anyway? That's why he tries to offload it. He thinks he's going to get carried over the sideline.
Yeah, Stephen Bell, a wild pass from the grand final winner with Manly.
Normally a centre by trade, that's what he played for the Manly club. I think he played left centre, if I'm not mistaken. And he just couldn't then, as top-class, world-class wingers do, change the ball-carrying arm into collision and flick that back on the inside.
Yeah, had to get rid of it. He would have ended up in the front row of the crowd, so he had to get rid of the pass, but couldn't execute. Hudson back on the field, as we've mentioned, leading the charge for the Tigers. There's Steve Stitch, former Wakefield man. McGoldrick, this will be his kind of game if it does open up. Oh, Sherwin let it squirm from his grasp.
All Castleford have done in this last couple of sets is turn the ball back inside. Unfortunately, Brent Sherman loses possession, but they're trying to target the big forwards from Catalan.
Beautiful little drop-off play, wasn't it? The ball carry going up and over across the line of about 3 defenders, then dropping the player off back on the inside. And you can see what Sherwin was trying to do. Just change the ball carrying arm, the grip, so he could get the offload on when the collision was going to come. Just didn't nail it.
Oh, an 8-point lead. When you're used to winning games, you can put these situations away quite easily. The teams like Huddersfield, Wigan and Warrington, you feel would put it away. Castleford, you know, haven't won back-to-back games all season. When you're not used to winning, it's a very different dynamic out there, isn't it?
It is, and also in those games that you're losing, you waste an awful lot of energy. And as those games total up and add up, then, you know, your confidence begins to drop on the back of it.
Pello, a potential game breaker for the Dragons, makes half a break. They're using that right-hand side. Setimata Sarr is going to see his side get another penalty, not square against Rangi Chase. These penalties in these kind of positions on the paddock are absolutely crucial. Another set 20 metres out for the Catalan Dragons, looking for what would be their 6th win in 9 meetings with the Castleford Tigers in Super League.
Jean-Philippe Bale now back on each spell. Kane Bentley is going to be very dynamic in that position.
Bosk, here's Pello. An obstruction. An obstruction, says Ian Smith, and a penalty against the team in possession. A rare breed indeed, but that's what he's given. Let's have a look.
Is it Jean-Philippe Bale that goes through there? It is. He takes the man out.
Paul?
Yeah, you can't reward poor offence like that. He went through far too early and made contact.
Bit of a ringer for Kieran Cunningham, I think, Jean-Philippe Bale.
It's the Jack Black lookalike club, isn't it?
Well, you just heard the referee then, Ian Smith. He said, Jean-Philippe, you've got to run into the gap. You can't just run straight at a man.
Yeah, he's only just come back onto the pitch, so not the impact that Kevin Walters was hoping for from Bale. A costly error too, because they were setting up base camp on the Castleford line, and now they've compounded that by conceding a second straight penalty.
So back-to-back penalties. They were pressing on Castleford's line. There you can say offside. Just trying to get up, put pressure on Castleford. So all of a sudden, from attacking Castleford's line, they're now defending their own.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And you can hear the referee, or we certainly can in the background, warning the players to be with me, keep on side, keep disciplined. And they either can't hear, can't understand the accent, or are ignoring them. Either way, it's cost them dear.
Well, this is where the Tigers just need to camp down. They know they've got the 8-point lead. They can control it here. They've got the kicking game out in Rangi Chase, Brent Sherwin. So they should be down for a second set.
Yeah, they know what problems the kicks have caused already, Steve, but they've scored 3 tries from kicks. So they'll just put one in, I'm sure, up to the try line into the in-goal area and hope for either a mistake in a try or, in worst case, a goal line dropout. Let's see what Rangi Chase can do. But he can dance his way very close to the line, within 2 or 3 inches of the try line. This will end up in the arms of Sherwin. They've got 2 tackles left from this set. Will Sherwin kick early? No, he won't. McGoldrick. Oh, he's got Dixon who drops the ball. He drops what could have been a try-scoring ball.
Well, Kirk Dixon held his shape, held the touchline. It was good play, but he just couldn't take this pass in from McGoldrick. It was a perfect pass.
It was odds on a scorer, wasn't it, if he caught it?
And look at the gamble from Vakari, the left winger. He read the play, he came flying in on an angle, got it completely wrong. The ball's caught, it's a try scored.
Could be a big turning point. Could have been the game winner, that try. As it is, the Dragons are still within 8.
He was already reading it in the newspaper tomorrow.
Well, I must say, Terry Madison will be disappointed with that. Even if they went for a power play, even if they had a turnover to the Catalans, 5 metres out from their own line, their defence should have been solid enough to keep them there.
Interesting change here. That looks like Dallas Johnson who's leaving the field for Catalan Dragons, their tackling machine from Melbourne. I'm not sure if that's an injury or whether he just needs a breather, but an interesting one, that's for sure. 18 minutes left. Dragons down by 8 here. Still in the game. Gise is just absolutely monstered by Jackson.
Good shot by Westerman.
Westerman, yeah.
He owned Gise then.
Yeah, it was a monster hit.
If you're going forward and you get off your line, you can do things like that.
There's a shambles on the last tackle by the Dragons. There looked like it might have been forward. They're having to run it, not out of a deliberate tactic, but just out of the fact that it all became very broken in back play. And it's just hoiked forward by Vakari. That wasn't a planned move, Paul, I suggest.
I'll just gamble and answer no. In those situations, you might have wanted him to think and kick right across the field because there was no one home. And this is the way I explain it sometimes. That fullback was stood on his own. The field's 68 metres wide, and the fullback was stood in one of them, and he found him.
Yeah. Either bad judgment or bad luck. Yeah, that was a mess from the Dragons, that really was. Should have been Bosk or Maguire directing the traffic. Somehow it ended up on the left wing, and Bakary was forced to just hoik it forward and hope for the best. And well, the best didn't arrive as far as the Dragons were concerned.
No, it was a real scruffy set, and just going back to that big shot that Terry mentioned there on Jérôme Guisset, he might want to have a word with Jean-Philippe Bale. Threw the ball on the floor, real scruffy effort, the slowest play of the ball in the history, and a prop forward Jérôme's got to carry it on the next one. That's why he got wiped out.
That's gone dead, that kick from Sherwin. It's not the worst though for Castleford. It just enables them to set a defensive line 80 metres away from their own try line. It's a long way to go for the Catalan Dragons, and remember, they've got to go the distance twice. They've got to score at least twice here in the final quarter of an hour or so. And remember, they have only won twice all season in the Super League.
And that's it, Rod. Have they got the self-belief in themselves to come from behind and score 2 tries? I don't think they have.
Yeah, they lost to the Tigers earlier on in the season. They've produced some reasonable efforts in and out. It's very inconsistent. We saw them produce a second-half fight back against Leeds, which was almost good enough to reel in the Rhinos from a mile back, but consistency has not been their strong suit this season.
But Rod, if you consider the last month or so from the Catalan Dragons, this is a monumental improvement.
Well, here we go. Could this be the turning point? The mistake from Wainwright on the wing.
Awkward ball, that is. That's an awful ball to deal with. There's boots flying about by the end of it as well. Stephen Bell comes in to take a hack at it.
He hesitated though, before that ball bounces, he hesitated. He didn't know whether to go for it, whether to stand back. He went for it on the bounce and made the mistake.
Here's a big dilemma, shall I say, now for the senior players from the Catalan Dragons. Are they going to be pressurised to really try and make the big play, score on this set of 6, or can they afford to just burn some Castleford juice, keep them down there, keep defending in your own try line, and maybe get this at the back end of the game?
Yeah, quarter of an hour is a long time in a game of rugby league, but it's easy to say that from here. We're out on the pitch, starting to look at the clock and start to get edgy and nervous, and think that quarter of an hour is in fact a very short time, and you need to score on every set. Pressure, pressure, pressure is what they need to apply. Muniz, who scored once, has gone close again. Bale burrowing. I think he's got that down. So does Ian Smith. That's a good try. That gets the back within 4 points.
Good play by Jean-Philippe Bale. His momentum was going forward to play the ball from the Catalan player. He picked it up on the run. The Castleford defenders were stood flat-footed, and there's no way that they can stop Jean-Philippe Bale from getting this ball down. Here's the mistake from Wainwright. Bell a little kick. The mistake from Wainwright leads to the field position, but look at this. He's just determined in his run. He runs straight over Westerman, who come up with that shot on Guisset. You can see him standing back. He's not moving forward. He's not low enough. But that man, Jean-Philippe Bale's low enough, and he goes in for the try.
He's learning how to play hooker from dummy half, Paul, isn't he? He must be a quick learner.
Absolutely the right play, and no risk involvement. My question there was about to be, are they going to go with a big shift, trying to bring Pello around the back, that complicated manoeuvre? No risk play, pick up from dummy half and go ploughing through. It looks like Kieran Cunningham. That was Cunningham-esque. It was superb from dummy half.
Certainly was, and one of the very few occasions we've seen in the second half that the French outfit have got up and played the ball quickly and caught the Castleford defence out.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having £1 for every try Kieran Cunningham scored like that. Might have 20 quid or so, imagine. Muniz with the attempted conversion. It's an important one too. It's missed. It's missed again, and this problem of not having a goal kicker is sometimes ignored in rugby league because it's all about try scoring, but the 2 points that you keep missing keeps adding up.
Well, they need to score again, but let's give John Thompson, he lost the tackle, but it was that man who kicked the goal, Gregory Muniz. He won that collision, and that enabled Jean-Philippe Bale to pick the ball up and score the try.
What a smart kick, though, originally. Do you remember the back end of the first half when I think there was 1 play left and Thomas Box for a massive, or for a bomb up, just tickled the ball over, no challenge. On that occasion, they got it right. They created a challenge where the winger Wainwright was in 2 minds.
4 tries apiece. Castleford lead 22-18, courtesy of Joe Westerman's goal kicking. Muniz has only landed 1 solitary attempt from 4. Westerman's nailed 3. That's the difference. And earlier in the season, St Helens played Warrington, and Warrington were actually trailing a game in which they'd scored more tries at one point. You know, and so it does make a difference.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe the Catalan Dragons want to start hitting those short leads on the big width plays and scoring tries a little bit closer to the sticks.
Well, Bale has burst clean through. There's no support here for the Frenchman. He cannot get the ball away. There was no one with him. He just wanted someone on his shoulder, and it looked a certain try for the Dragons. It may still be a try. It may be half a chance here for Sebastian Ragois on the final tackle. He's wrapped up. A chance has been bombed.
Good defence by Dixon. He had to come in and clamp that ball, otherwise it would have been a certain try. But good build-up play from Catalan, turning the ball inside, getting out from dummy half, pressuring Castleford up the middle of the park.
Paul, you mentioned Greenshields not playing. That was exactly the situation that Greenshields would have appeared on his shoulder to score the try, perhaps.
Scored try after try by linking her up around the back of either the second row forward or the centre in that situation. But if you're going to turn the ball over in rugby league, back end of a set, that was the place to do it, in a corner, and now he can work hard on defence. I'm sure Kevin Walters is now praying they don't concede a penalty on this set and then can bring the ball back on the full.
We've mentioned before the last 3 meetings between the two clubs have been decided by 4 points or fewer. Just 4 points between the teams now, with less than a dozen minutes to go in the melting pot. Either side could win this game. It's been a great exhibition on the first match of Magic Weekend, Day 2, 2010.
He's so dangerous, Dimitri Pello. Every time he returns the ball, he starts to get and win the play of the ball against Steve Bell.
Steve-O made
yards from the line.
Yeah, sorry, Steve-O made the point earlier about the pitch appearing to sap the energy. Well, look at the tired limbs out there. That's a tired mistake in the end from the Dragons.
Julian Tuxigas, he had to bring that ball in then.
Manna from heaven there for the Castleford Tigers. They were done for all money. Defending back-to-back sets. Big sigh of relief from I'm sure from Terry Matteson. Little bit of a gamble on the pass and it didn't work.
Well, most of these Catalan players have had spells in and out of the team this season. They've used 29 players. Kevin Walton and his coaching staff, that's more than any other club in the competition. So it hasn't been a regular side. There's been no consistent selection, and that's maybe why you see combinations not working as well as maybe they would do at some of the other clubs.
And just look at the shape then behind the play the ball. There was no width, no one was running the angles or getting ready. They're just working up the middle and getting ready for the kick.
And the kick will come from Sherwin. It's high this time. It's pressure on the defence for the Catalan Dragons. It's pressure on Bakary, and all he can do is just hold on to the ball and concede a goal line dropout.
That was well taken by Bakary. There was 4 Castleford players up in attendance, putting pressure. You see James Evans jumps up, but Bakary comes up with it. Was not fazed by any of the pressure from the Castleford players.
Smart play and great leadership from Brent Sherwin. They didn't employ any shape out wide at all on that movement. Everyone around the ruck, they were getting ready for it, and he just made sure his forwards went in the direction so he could get the kick away.
A try for the Tigers would probably finish the Dragons off here with 9 minutes to go. They go with Stuart Jones. Stuart Jones half a break. He's got Dixon who's spinning out of a couple of tackles. A pirouette from Dixon to within an inch of the line. Well, he was going into touch and he hurled the ball inside. Referee Ian Smith says, you're in touch. It's a scrum down. The Dragons survive by the skin of their teeth.
And you can't knock that though from the Castleford Tigers. They were looking for the play. I'll tell you though, what was happening off the ball as he was making that run, they were set out for the big shift. Sherwin onto Chase, and McGoldrick was getting ready to come out the back. There's the gamble that you take.
Wait, get bound, it's in, Oliver.
That's how close he was.
I think he's got rid of that before he actually goes into touch.
Yeah, but in fairness, Terry, we're watching that super slow-mo there, and you know, the referee Ian Smith is watching
right
at
at the
full
time,
speed.
Rod.
Well, who'd be a referee, Terry?
But he's done well, hasn't he? Ian Smith's done well, you know, you can't knock that. That's a blink of an eye.
What's Castleford's defence like now? You're down in the part of the park where you want to defend.
Well, there'll be no penalties, have been a cry from Terry Matteson here, won't it? For goodness sake, no penalties. He can deal with the Dragons from 80, 90 metres away, but a penalty here to either side could be a potential game breaker. It'll just allow the opponent to get close to the try line, and we've seen some tired defence. They can't even get to the halfway line in this set. Bosk dithers and then dinks the ball over the top. Chance of a mix-up there between Sherwin and deciding, but they tied it up well. Dixon
Thomas Bosch just not on his game then. The play was being set up on the left-hand side. He had nothing on the right, got caught with the ball, and that's why that kick was just simply hacked forward. It was a nothing set and a nothing play.
Nervous times for Terry Mattison, the Cas coach, and his counterpart, Kevin Walters. Nervous times for the fans of both clubs, and a penalty! Well, it's within kicking range. They're 4 in front. Would you kick this one, or go for the corner and put the pressure on?
Would you take 2 points? Here's the penalty. Just would not let him get up to play the ball. They're going for the 2 points. One thing that Terry Mattison will be saying, make sure you concentrate and stay focused if we get a kick-off. If we're successful with this goal, Remy Casti.
There's half a dozen reasons why you should set that kick at goal now, and there's half a dozen reasons why you should kick to the corner, keep the ball in play, because the Dragons just...
What would you do, Paul? You're an experienced coach of many years. What would you do?
My instinct then was simply to say roll on, keep the ball going. They're looking a little bit tired. That was an awful set previously from the Catalan Dragons, but if he slots this over, then he gets his win.
But he should at least get it dead, which will mean Castleford will get the ball back. So what he's got to do here, Westerman, is make sure he makes a decent contact and at least gets it over the dead ball line, even if he doesn't hit the target. It's a pivotal moment. Cast by 4 at the moment. Will it be cast by 6 in a few seconds' time? He's won plenty of time off the clock, you'll have to give him that. Westerman's strike is a decent one. It's worth 2 points and the Tigers lead by 6.
Well, he kicked 7 from 7 last week when they played against Salford. No better man on the pitch to kick that ball than Westerman. No pressure whatsoever on him. This is it. Concentrate.
You're right there, Terry. They've got to make sure that they keep their mind on the job. They've got to stretch the lead now, but they need to work together. And you could see just before from the coach, Terry Mattison, he was saying, concentrate, think about it, get yourself in a good position. They've done that.
Too early for the short kick-off. As far as the Dragons are concerned, content to knock it long and try and force an error deep inside Castleford territory.
And that is what they've got to be. If they've got any chance of getting back in this game and getting a score, they've got to be physical and try and force the error.
We've only seen one draw in Super League 15, that memorable classic on Sky Sports between the Rhinos and the Bulls at Headingley Carnegie. Who knows, possibility of another one here. Guisset taking a breather. Catalan Dragons forward. Former Wigan man, Steve Snitch, trying to squirm out of a tackle. A decent set hit from the Tigers. If they can get deep inside the Catalan territory and force them right back onto their try line.
Well, this is where the Tigers don't want a long ball out wide. They want to keep it short, get the kick, get a good kick and chase, and all that ricocheted away.
It's play on. Still the last, no. Still the last. Come loose, no, Castleford have still got it. Ian Smith screams play on, they do just that. Westerman puts boot to ball, that's a tremendous kick, right onto the try line and beyond. Pello is trapped. Well, Westerman made the most of an opportunity there to force the Dragons back over their own line.
10 out of 10 for Brent Sherwin. His kick was ricocheted. Why? How on earth did nobody drop on him then and complete that tackle and finish it?
A 5th goal line dropout forced by Cass.
Well,
shows the quality of the kicking game. Sorry, Terry.
We're talking about the line speed and being aggressive. On that last set of 6, there was no one willing to get off the line and try and bang one of the Castleford players from this Catalan side.
Well, I'm surprised. I haven't heard a voice from my right saying go for the 1-pointer. I'm sure it will be imminent.
Well done, Liam.
This is what they're going to do here. I'm sure, Steve-O, 4 more drives from here, or 3 more drives from here. They'll be with, what, 10 metres away from the line. Sherwin or Chase should be able to oblige, shouldn't they?
Here it comes. Who's standing back? Sherwin's out there. Chase is not deep.
They're going for the wide play.
Only 4 minutes left. A try would really put it to bed, but in this set of circumstances, 1 point is as good as 6, isn't it? They're coming to this near side. Well, it's a little grubber kick through. McGoldrick's there. Sherwin's kick. McGoldrick's try. His second of the match, and that will win the match for the Castleford Tigers.
They were not interested in going for the 1-pointer because the confidence was running through the side. They know that they had the field position, and Catalan will be really kicking themselves. They've not turned up, they've not been good in defence, they've not been forceful, but this Castleford side, they've been flooding forward in numbers all day. If
if we think back to how that all came about, that will go from that previous set from the Catalan Dragons where Thomas Bosch tried to run the play, got caught with the ball and hacked the kick. It simply wasn't good enough. He's put his side in all sorts of pressure. Look, get on him, the tackle's done. Why on earth aren't you making that tackle? Sherwin, beautiful kick through. There's McGoldrick. He was always going to be the go-to man. The kick was designed for him to chase. He's pushed up very hard indeed. Outpaces Pello.
That is hard to defend. That is hard to defend when Sherwin gets the ball, and if he gets it and he runs at the defenders, they've got to come up. They can't stand back, and it was just a neat little kick.
Bit of a double bluff situation, because I'm sure the Dragons must have been thinking a drop goal's a possibility here, and maybe diverting a lot of attention to that, and Castleford double bluff them.
You could see the way they were lining up, that they were never going to go for the 1 point.
Westerman with a chance to put more daylight between the teams. Well, a kick that doesn't really matter because they're 10 points clear. It's impossible to imagine a scenario when the Dragons can score twice in the remaining time, and Castleford are going to win at the Magic Weekend for the first time in their history.
And back-to-back wins for Terry Matheson.
For the first time this season.
Here you can see, look at that, they've got 5 men on the blind side. And again, McGoldrick just willing to push.
McGoldrick 2 tries today, that's doubling his try tally for the season. Very much the master meter maker in the competition as far as the Tigers are concerned. Only James Graham has made more meters statistically in Super League 15. Well, McGoldrick has made a real difference with those 2 tries today.
And when I'm sure Coach Kevin Walters is analysing his team's performance just before that try was scored, there's no point there trying to work out why Pello didn't get that ball instead of McGoldrick. He'll go back, I'm sure, to 2 or 3 sets before, when why did Thomas Bosch let his team go out of shape, try and run the ball on the 5th, get caught. That should have been right down the middle of the field and go hard on your chase.
It will be their 5th win of the season for the Castleford Tigers. It won't improve their league position, but it will leave them 11th in the table. But with plenty of breathing space above, the Catalan Dragons will stay bottom. They've just won 2 of their 13 games. It's been a miserable season for the French side.
Can they finish with a positive? They're not going to win this game, but there's always next week.
Well, next week is the Cup against the Crusaders, and pretty much fair to say that's their season. A simple try for Brent Sherwin. A simple try for Brent Sherwin, who picked the Dragons' pockets and went over for another.
Well, that is not finishing the game with a positive at all. Kevin Walters will be shaking his head. He'll be absolutely devastated. He would have targeted this game. He would have wanted to win this game to get his team back on track this season. But Brent Sherwin, impossible play. Had no vision to where Sherwin was. He just comes out the line and scores the simplest of tries. Have a little look at this. Sherwin second in. He's just biding his time. Easy play. Catalan, Casey Maguire, has gone to cut out 2 players. Impossible play when you're coming off a slow play of the ball.
Joe Westerman just lining up the kick now. Meat and drink for a player of his ability, I'm absolutely sure. We just think of something I mentioned in commentary yesterday, that although I was never really a fan of the boldness point before I was involved in Championship rugby, and I did mention it in the whitewash almost yesterday of Salford against the Warrington Wolves. I think it's a great idea. It creates a game within a game. It allows you to fight for something. You know, Salford could have been looking for a bonus point, but once the game has gone, they've given it up. And I think we've just seen a classic example of it on that final pass.
The conversion from Joe Westerman was the final act. Brent Sherwin's try, his second of the match, helping Castleford to a 34-18 win. 2 tries from Sherwin, 2 for McGoldrick, 1 apiece for Wainwright and for Evans. For Bakary, Elmer, Muniz and Bale's tries for the Catalan Dragons rendered academic in the final analysis. With 10 minutes to go, they were within 4 points and within with a sniff of their 3rd win of Super League 15. But Westerman's penalty and those 2 late tries from McGoldrick and Sherwin have given the Tigers a priceless win. It's their 5th of the season and only the first time that they've won back-to-back under Terry Matheson in 2010.